And do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 16. What's up, guys? It's me, Tolu, and I'm here with another video of Talk with T. So, if you can tell by the thumbnail, today's topic is going to be the true definition of ugly. We've all heard the term ugly before, whether we were calling something ugly, or whether we were calling someone else ugly, or whether we were referring to ourselves. Basically, the term ugly is described as you viewing someone else or something as unappealing or unattractive to you, to your eye. I don't like the term ugly. I think it's derogatory. In my book, it falls in the same category as curse words. I don't like using the word. I wasn't always like that though. I used to think of myself as ugly all the time. And that was for two reasons. Number one, because I was being called ugly a lot when I was a child. I was called ugly all the time by my fellow peers. Two, because in my opinion, I didn't fall into society's viewpoint of what beautiful was. I have a big forehead, have a big nose, I had a humongous gap, I have big hands, I was chubby when I was younger. All that does not describe beautiful in today's definition, society's definition of beautiful. And because of that, I didn't think I was beautiful. But being a believer, being a Christian, I was always hearing, you're beautiful, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, you are made in God's image. But like I said, I was called ugly so much as a child that I kind of became immune to hearing that. I became numb to hearing it. So whenever I heard it, I just think, whatever. But the problem with that is I was conforming to the world. I was letting society tell me what I was and not listening to what God was trying to tell me what I was. God is trying to tell me, you're beautiful. Don't ever think of yourself anything less than that. Yes, society was overruling what God was trying to tell me. And they kept saying, oh, you don't look like this. You're not beautiful. You look like that. You're so ugly. You're so unattractive. I can't stand how you look. You're so unappealing. And I had thought that because the world was so big in number and God was just one person, that I let them overrule what God was trying to say, which I'm actually very upset at myself now that I did that, because the only opinion that truly mattered, I was ignoring. And I wasn't listening to what God was trying to tell me. I was listening to what society was trying to tell me, which actually makes me very frustrated. And I see that today in a lot of youth especially, and it makes me so sad whenever I hear my friends or anyone else referring to themselves as ugly, because I think, how can you think that way about yourself? But then I also think, I used to think the same way. Like I said, I used to think of myself as ugly until somewhat recently, November of last year. And this is a cute little story in my opinion. So my family and my church had done a family Thanksgiving. And whenever there's like a family Thanksgiving in my church, the media department always displays pictures of that family. And the one picture that they displayed had me from when I was like 11 to 13 years old, around that time period. And in my opinion, those are my less pretty stages. I had my gap. This was before I had braces. My gap was so big, it looked like you could fit a train in there. I had so much acne. I had little old lady glasses that people used to tease me about all the time. And it's not like my church had not seen me in this stage, but I just hated the idea of anyone looking at those pictures. And the whole time I was looking like, why did they have to display these pictures of me? But they did. Can't control anything about that. And one of my friends was in the choir and he saw me and he wasn't laughing at me, but he was smiling. He was looking at me as to say, Tolu, look at you. And I'm just like, ugh. So fast forward, after the service had ended, we had both gone out into the auditorium. We were walking, talking, joking. Then he says, Tolu, I saw the pictures of you. And like I said, I was called ugly so much that I was expecting him to call me ugly. So I was just waiting. I was kind of joking. I said, you know what? I know I was ugly. I know I look bad. Just get on with it so we can continue our conversation. This is where it turned interesting. He had stopped in the middle of the auditorium. looked at me, had a smile wiped off of his face, put his arm around me, said, "Don't you ever call yourself ugly. Don't you ever think that you're anything less of beautiful. You're beautiful because you're wonderfully and fearfully made. You were made in God's image. So don't think of yourself as anything less of beautiful because it's wrong. I don't want to hear you call yourself ugly. I don't want to hear you referring to yourself as ugly." And I had stopped and I was like, wow. And like I said, I heard that I was fearfully and wonderfully made all the time. I've heard that I'm beautiful, like from my parents, but I was thinking my parents aren't supposed to say that I'm their kid. And it's not like I had like romantic feelings towards his friend, but it was so convincing the way he said it, and I was kind of sitting there thinking about it. And I recently came to the conclusion that God was trying to tell me that he was so sick of hearing me say that I'm ugly. God was basically trying to say, how are you going to call yourself ugly when I made you? How are you going to refer to yourself as anything less than beautiful when I'm your creator? Are you trying to say that my creations are ugly? And I just sitting there, I'm like, wow. I felt so different that was the day I stopped referring to myself as ugly. That was the day I stopped thinking that I was ugly, because I came to the conclusion, how can I say that a creation of God is ugly? God made everything in this world. If the trees are beautiful to someone, if the sunset is beautiful to someone, then I am too. I'm not going to be beautiful to everyone who looks at me. I'm not going to be attractive to everyone who looks at me. But to one person, something is ugly, but to another person, something is attractive. You're not going to be the exact same to everybody. There's one Bible verse that I really like, is Psalms chapter 134, verses 14, which says, "I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, my soul knows it very well." How can I be ugly and still say that God's creation is beautiful? Am I not a part of God's creation? Is my face not a part of God's creation? Is my body not a part of God's creation? God made me how he wanted me to be. So how can I call myself ugly? The word ugly is spelled U.G.L.Y, but I'm going to break it down to an acronym. The U stands for unique. There are no two things on this earth that look the exact same. You have two snowflakes, they have different patterns. Even if you have two trees that are the same kind of tree, they're different. You see twins, identical twins. They have their own different characteristics. To me, if I see two things that are different, I find beauty in each of them, but they're different kinds of beauty. When two things are different, they stand out more, allowing someone to admire the beauty in them even more. G stands for gorgeous. No one on this earth is ugly. Someone may be less attractive to you, but they could be even more attractive to someone else. Everything on this earth has beauty. Everything on this earth is gorgeous because God made it. God is not about to make something that is ugly. We're all created in God's image. We all are wonderfully and fearfully made. Are you going to sit here and are you going to tell me that a creation of God, and mind you, creation of God, everything on this earth is a creation of God. You're going to sit here and you're going to tell me a creation of God is ugly when it's made in this image? No. L stands for lovely. God had created the earth and he had stopped and he saw that it was good. In other terms, he saw that it was lovely. He saw that it was appealing to their eye, to his eye. Everything on this earth was created by God. Everything on this earth is good. Everything on this earth is lovely. Finally, the Y stands for youthful. No matter how old we get, no matter how wrinkly or how unattractive we get when we get older, in our own words, God is still going to look at us and be like, look at my little child. I was talking to my parents the other day and I was telling them, Mom, Dad, I'm going to college next year. And my mom was like, so you're still going to be our little girl. You're still going to be our baby. The way my parents view me as a forever little girl, even though I'm going to college next year, is how God still views us. Even when we're old, he still looks at us as if we're his youthful little one. God still loves us because no matter how unattractive in our own terms that we may get, we're still beautiful to him. So if anyone tries to call you ugly from now on, I just want you to sit back and be like, that's your definition of ugly. But here's my definition. U.G.L.Y. Unique, gorgeous, lovely, youthful. That should be the new ugly from now on. You're made in God's image. He's a beautiful God. How can he make an ugly creation? How can he make an unattractive creation? Don't conform to what society's ugly is. Conform to what God says you are. I hope you all learned something today. I hope this spoke to someone today. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment below. Thank you all for your love and support. I'll see you next time. Remember, everybody, Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. Have a blessed day. Bye.